now, for the thousands in attendance and the millions watching around the world on HBO pay-per-view. Ladies and gentlemen, from Mandalay Bay, Las Vegas, let's get ready to rumble!
Alright, welcome everybody. I'm the Chris who plays games, playing retro games every Monday, whatever I feel like every Friday. Today is Friday, and you know what that means? It's time for whatever I feel like, because that's what I just said. Tonight we're going to be playing and putting together some Nintendo Labo stuff. Kit, whatever, I don't know, find a word, it'll work out great. Hello Yugi, hello everyone else who might or may not be out there. Contrary to my plans, I am not on an airplane right now, which was my initial plan. So here we are, putting together more stuff. There we go. So, yeah, so we're going to start off and work on putting together the motorbike. According to this little box right here, this will be about a 1.5 to 2 hour build, a 2.5 hour build, so we'll see how that goes. Of course, we're going to mix in some alcohol, and alcohol has a tendency to make these builds go slower, and we also have a tendency to have all of you awesome folks to hang out with and chat with, which can slow things down as well. I got a stack of all of my high school yearbooks here, so if you would like to explore the various ways that I have looked really stupid at various points in my life, at least for those 4 years, we can do that, or we can go back and, you know, pull out photos from the Google Photos feed, and we can look at those. Unfortunately, they only date back to 2002, and realistically, other than losing some of my hair, I don't actually look all that different. I do have all of my high school yearbooks, yeah. I have this one right here. This is the 2001. I was actually in the yearbook club, so I have one that says Halo on it, and has this gear icon. So Halo was the name of our book because, of course, we were the Saints. I've got this 2001, a Saints Odyssey. Again, we were the Saints, and of course 2001 was the year, the Space Odyssey. I did find a old paycheck I never cashed when I was flipping through this one, so I guess I lost out on those $20.04 part of my paycheck when I worked at the movie theater. This is the first one, went from when I was a freshman. Hands of Time. So that is the 1999 class yearbook, and this final one, 2002, the year that I graduated, my final year of high school yearbooks. So I've got all of this. Oh my gosh, that's right. I didn't lose all of it. I'm gonna drop a big block. Oh my god, those things are heavy. Yeah. So it's amazing to me that those things only cost us $30. I assume they didn't sell them much below cost. And it's amazing to me that you can get like something like that printed, at least at the time, for $30. I assume they got, you know, you get a bulk discount when you get 700 of them, or, you know, 3,000 of them printed or whatever. There's 700 of us in each class, and lots of people buy yearbooks, so I am familiar with that place. Yeah, the Pheasant Run Resort is in my hometown of St. Charles, Illinois. Jess and I have actually stayed there a couple times when we've gone back to Illinois. And yeah, so I have been there. It's got a convention center. It's nothing amazing. It's you know, at this point, a lot of people feel like it's been run down. It hasn't been really well maintained over the past few years, but we've stayed there. So, all right. At this time, it is 6 o'clock in the evening. I'd say 6 o'clock in the evening is a perfectly fine time to leave a convention. All right. So I was saying earlier, we are going to be putting together some more Labo. So we got our big Labo box here, and we've got, of course, the Labo screen in the upper left that you can keep an eye on, which will have the instructions. As I said, we're going to try and put together the motorbike here. That's weird. My cam link isn't... It appears that my cam link is not working. Let me see if I can fix that. Alright, seems like it's back now. There we go. Cool. Yeah, so we are going to, we're going to try and put together the motorbike. So the motorbike is going to let us do things, and we'll see how it goes. So let's go ahead and start this baby up. There are 5 steps to complete. Alright. Make sure I've got the plastic bag with the special parts. I do have that. I've got my extra knobs for my piano in there, but I do have all of these special parts in here. So that's good. And what else? 1 out of 5, making the left handlebar. Okay, so we will flip a flop, a flip it, the flip it to the flip, flip, flop, and you don't stop. We will see how it goes. So there's a lot of parts of this, so you know we'll have to see what it looks like. Remove these 7 pieces from sheets motorcycle A and motorcycle B. It is supposed to take about an hour or 30 to 60 minutes less, according to the expected times for the according to the software. So we'll have to see if that is right or not. I don't care about the house. I don't have any cats in here, so at least for the time being, I can take these out. All right, here we go. Motorcycle in a dish. How many do you wish? Okay, those are not motorcycle. Assuming that a bunch of these are. Yes. Oh my goodness. Oh, H. Look at all these cardboards. So much cardboard. Okay, there we go. Interestingly enough, the cats did not bother with the piano. They didn't attack it or anything else like that, which is pretty cool. Alright, so now we got some sheets here. We got A, B. We don't need the anything else for the time being. Hello, Jeff Harbaugh. Welcome. Yep. Revenge of the Boxes. Indeed. Okay, boxes are coming for me, but that's okay. We're gonna that's alright. That's okay. You're gonna pump our gas someday. But yeah, I was amused that my last paycheck was in my yearbook. It was only for 3 hours of time working at the movie theater for $6.50 an hour back in 2002. Is the sound being dumb? There's just no sound in this part. Okay, there's just a part. Okay. No, it is being dumb. Yeah, I don't know why the sound in the cam link is being crappy. I assume that is it poorly interacting with the Switch for some reason beyond my controls. So occasionally I will just have to fiddle with the sound controls and see what I get out of it. Kind of unfortunate because the sound in this is actually pretty decent. All right. Popping out sheets today. Yeah, so they didn't bother either the overall, like, the box, nor did they bother the piano. So, I am impressed with whatever they did. It has so far succeeded in keeping my cats away from it. Impressive indeed. Okay, there we go. That one was a bit finicky. There's a little narrow part in there that didn't really want to pull apart. Alright, pop this part out. Baby. Baby, oh, like baby, oh. Cat motorcycles are the future. Yeah, I think that going to the bar after conference events is one of those things that is for young people and not for old like us. Alright, I think that is the pieces that it wanted me to grab, so let's go ahead and what comes next? Don't forget, I can use the back and forward buttons to figure out how things go together. Okay. Start with the printed side facing down on this baby. Cat motorcycles. So I was just realizing, Brad, that you have not been yelling at your cats to get off the curtains much recently. Yes, I know. Fold. So I'm not sure to do about my sound cutting out like this. Don't have a good answer there. Okay, this little piece here we can toss out. There we go. Ah, yes, cats do that. It's funny to watch my cats. We've had our cats for a long time, so we've had our cats at this point for about 14 years. And it is definitely the case that both Anna and Tony are old. Of course, now we've added a new young cat to the mix because Alicia's cat, who she got as an emotional support animal when she was at Hampshire, now lives with us as she has moved to California. And he is old. Or he is young, rather. He is not old. He's the opposite of old. Okay, so we'll go ahead and fold this down. Yes, we have 3 cats. That is correct. This is gonna be a controllable motorcycle that I'll hold in my hands and do this. She's got the boyfriend now, which I think provides additional emotional support. But more importantly, the boyfriend is allergic to cats. So I think that even if she had a desire for the emotional support there, she's got a little bit of trouble in the boyfriend being allergic to cats department. All right, so I'm just gonna keep folding this. 3. And fold this here. And fold this box. And shove this in here, I think. Yeah, so this is gonna be the left side of something. L, but the weird thing is that, like, on the right hand side, I don't know. Hello, Andre, Altuve, and Cowdizzle. How's it going? So we got the little slot in the opening, and so now we have the horn, I guess. So we can lay on the horn when we need to yell at cars or motorcycles that are in front of us. So that's good. Now for the left handlebar, check that I've got the piece with the L mark. I do, and just the piece with the L mark, it is as well. So I guess I can pop out some of these middle pieces. Again, this is a part that the lack of demarcation of which parts you don't need is kind of meh. Like, it's one of the few things that now it's not like it's that big of a deal. But like, it would be kind of cool if they had just colored them all like black. Like, if they had just like been like, oh, anything that you don't need that you're gonna just pop out, we'll just color that black. That would have been good. So that you know when you're getting rid of it that you can. And the weird thing is that, like, some of these, like this one even, they colored it like it looks like it should be a thing, but apparently it's not. So Grand Salami. You checking out my project? Yeah, I'm checking out this project too. So this is the Nintendo Labo. The Nintendo Labo is basically a cardboard build construction kit with a corresponding app and a bunch of gameplay that you can do in that app to go along with it. It's a pretty nice app with UI for building. Alright, so now... Oh, I missed one. Yeah, so as I look at this from the back, my goal here is to make sure that it has all of the various pieces punched out of it. So one here, one here, one here, one here, 1, 2, 3, 4, this, and that's it. So that way we're not folding anything unnecessary as we go through. And we can go ahead and fold firmly along the lines. I love they spent, and every screen when they tell you to fold, they're like, fold firmly, and they always are like coming up with a different excuse, trying to keep you interested in actually following that instruction. You know, this will help it come out great, and all this other stuff is just trying to get you to do the folding well, because doing the folding well really makes a difference in how well these pieces come together. If you don't fold well, your thing gets a little bit sloppy, and you know, it's really designed to fit together pretty well if you do everything right. If you don't, you're gonna be in a little bit of trouble. All right, so I folded there along those lines. Let's go ahead and fold these tabs here. That's gonna pop out. There we go. Fold these in. Now I have learned a little bit from my mistakes not to get too far ahead of myself on these things. At one point I did fold something over and then find out that I was not supposed to, which kind of sucked. No hanging chads, that's right. Ready? Alright, what do we got? What do we got? Fold all this in. Fold, fold. Oh, okay. So my horn is gonna go in here somewhere. Take this here. Oh no, okay. I'm gonna have this here, okay. Use the little tab to lock the horn in place. Okay. Now roll up the whole piece. Horn's gonna slide right through here. We'll come around to the other side, and then we've got these little tabs. This one that I didn't fold, and this I didn't fold either, that are gonna slide in here, I expect. I will double check this before I go too much further. Use this tab to hold it together. Yep, did that. Now, let's close up this end. Cool. This is the part that I sometimes get ahead of myself on. Like, I go to close up an end and then find out that I'm supposed to do it in a different order. So, what motorcycle gang I'm in? I'm in the White Rabbits. We're actually a Disneyland motorcycle gang. We got in. We're currently having a lawsuit issue with one of the other gangs of Disney World. But sorry, I said Disneyland. Just a total slip of the tongue there. But yeah, so we're working on it. We got those Disney biker gangs going on, roaming the park and fighting with each other and paying protection money and everything else like that. It's a real racket we got going on. All right, I am no, the motorcycles stay out front, but all right, try pushing the horn button. Slide it a little to the left. I mean, not really the left. The left is that way. Anyway, yeah, it moves a little. I think I'm all set here. Oh, I guess this is my left handlebar. No. Oh, okay. Maybe it's gonna go like this. The right hand. Like, the left handlebar's got to be on this side, but the L is upside down. Like, see this? Like, I don't understand. Like, it's like that, but then the L is not the right way. Ah, that's dumb. Always good to do what the cool kids do, Mike. That's definitely the way it goes. Okay. 4 stoppers. So let's go ahead and again we're gonna pop these babies out so that we have our stoppers. Stopper 1. Stopper 2. I also don't think it's actually designed as much for kids as you might think. I actually think there's a lot in here that's designed and targeted towards a slightly older demographic than people assumed it is. It's definitely not for like 6-year-olds. It's a build that's probably good in the like 10 to 14 age range as far as I'm concerned, at least with my kids' proclivities for building things. Like building something for 3 hours is definitely something that I don't think that my daughter would have done before she was 10-ish. And it's definitely, the piano was a 2.5, 3 hour build. So there we go. All right, good. Got our little stoppers here. Cool. Are we recreasing all of these fold lines? You better believe it. I do believe it. Okay. So again, popping out. Yeah, see, like, why do you got these, like, dash lines here making me think this is a useful piece, when in fact, I'm just gonna throw it away. I tell you. These Nintendo people. Is the daughter... No, my daughter took a limo to prom. Didn't you see the pictures of the limo? I have pictures of my daughter taking the limo to prom. Well, not taking, but standing in front of. Okay, crease along all the fold lines. But yeah, I mean, even for me, by the time I was done building the piano, I was getting impatient. And I mean, you've seen me spend 45 minutes on a single level in Castlevania or Super Meat Boy. You've seen me, you know, get stuck doing the same thing over and over again in a ton of retro games. And I was sitting here going like, when can I play the piano? Of course, I had a little bit of alcohol, which always helps. But, you know, that's definitely a thing. It's annoying. Okay, now fold all these parts in. She did not take a limo home from prom. That's right. Not through any choice on my part, of course. That was because the limo driver attempted to pick them up, and his car had some kind of electrical problem that caused it to fail to start. So they got stuck taking an Uber home, which is obviously not their initial plan. But you know, you gotta roll with the punches. It'll make an amusing story years from now. This is the story about post-prom for me, right? Is the pushing the Cadillac through the toll booth story comes from the day after prom. Hello, Celso Louise. Okay. So now we have this little box. There's L on one side. Alright, and apparently I'm going to line this L up with this. Okay, and I'm going to guess that the next step is going to be to put stoppers on the other side of this. Yep, time for 2 more stoppers. Alright, so again, pop out the pieces of these stoppers. Anyway, yeah, so hello Celso Louise, welcome to the stream. Alrighty. Hey. Oops, sorry. That is Discord. No, that's not Discord, that's something else. Making noise, something's making noise. Something is making noise. Alright, closing that. Alright. I have no idea what my notifications sound like, apparently. They're all the same. Doing ultra hard origami today. I don't do ultra hard anything. I try and stick with only easy problems. I wrote 1,000 lines of C++ this week. That is more C++ code than I have written in a long time. I did look back. I wrote 500 lines of C++, or I committed 500 lines of C++ back in March of last year. I have committed more code this week than I have in the past 12 months combined. So it was definitely, I wrote a lot of code this week. Not exactly the way that I planned to be. It doesn't look like a motor. It's just the handlebar. It's one handlebar for a motorcycle, which I think it's going to be the left handlebar. I'm not sure, though. Still a little bit confused on this. Like, it feels like it's going to be the right-hand one, but it claims to be the L. I don't know. So we've got the L here. The left handlebar. No, I don't want to take a quick break. I want to keep going. Make the right handlebar. Okay, 10 pieces from sheets A and C. But yeah, so this is the left handlebar. So I'm going to pull back on this or something. Oh, like this. Okay, I got it. I was thinking that the L would go on the outside, but this is how it actually is. So I'm gonna have the horn here, and that's why I pulled to the left this way to make the horn go off. And other than that, I've got all this. Okay, cool. Yeah, so a lot of stuff in Google is done in C++ or Java. Okay, so we will pop out all of the rest of A, looks like. Of course, Google does have support for many other languages as well. There's definitely JavaScript support, of course. But there's also support for Go, which is a language that was originally built at Google. Support for C#. I don't think there's any C#. We do TypeScript. I know one of the developers of the, or one of the people who supports TypeScript development at Google is a former LiveJournal employee, actually, who helped do a lot of development on LiveJournal back in the day. So I knew him from that and actually met him back in 2000 something. It's actually funny, actually. One of the person who wrote LiveJournal works at Google on Go, and a person who worked on LiveJournal works at Google on TypeScript. It's kind of a funny coincidence, I guess. Those LiveJournal developers were like really, you know, pretty hardcore developers back in the day. So, yeah. Well, so the biggest thing, Mikey L the Gamer, is that unlike IKEA, the instructions are much more holding your hand. Okay, I actually don't want to pop that piece out. So you got nice visuals. You've got words to go along with them. In theory, of course, you'd have nice music, but unfortunately, I don't have that. But that's a result of technology problems, not of the software doing the wrong thing. Yeah, it's really a much nicer build process than the average IKEA build. You can also, if you are having trouble figuring out where something goes, which I have had no problems with so far, zoom in or pan the map. You can go backwards and forwards. You can skip to different parts of the process. And of course, there's no need for trying to turn stupid hex screws. So overall, it certainly is an involved process where you want to do it right. But the support that the software and the tools give you is really pretty good. Hello, Org Chaos. No, so I was just actually writing data pipeline work, basically writing map reduces. That's what most people at Google do. Copy protos from one proto format to another, and just writing some data cleanup stuff. So, okay, so this is, I believe, all the pieces they want me to punch out of this at the moment. I have never played Chrono Trigger, so I do not remember that, but I believe you that it exists. I do know that, what's his face? Doggeth is playing Chrono Trigger tonight, I believe. He is planning to stream that. So Doggeth is a long-standing member of the CPG community, has bounced back and forth from streaming to not streaming a bunch of times. I know Narcos was actually just playing Chrono Trigger as well, I think. Or am I confusing Chrono Trigger and Chrono Cross? Chrono Trigger is an RPG, right? Like, I don't know. I feel like I always mess those two up, and I don't know why it's such a problem for me, but it is. Okay, here we go. Okay. Is Chrono Cross like a sequel to Chrono Trigger or something? Am I remembering that right at all, or is that just total bullshit that I made up in my head? Okay, so Chrono Trigger is the good one. The one that everyone plays. The one that people have actually told me several times that I should play, but I obviously have not. So yeah, as I mentioned, I expected to be on a flight tonight. For those of you who stuck around on Monday knew that I wasn't really planning to be here. Unfortunately, Mrs. CPG is sick, and so we did not make our flight to LA. But that does mean that I will be home rather than LA visiting Alicia for the Memorial Day weekend. So I may actually be able to stream on Monday as well. I'm not flying out to LA for my work trip until Tuesday noontime in Boston. So where am I? Go backwards here. Okay, what do we got? We got this piece here. Fold up and over. This comes around. She'll be coming around the mountain when she comes. She'll be coming around the mountain when she comes. She'll be coming around the mountain. She'll be coming around the mountain. She'll be coming around the mountain when she comes. So Mrs. CPG is a big player of Zelda. At the moment, she spends a lot of her time playing the mobile Animal Crossing game. She is a but yeah, she's a way better Zelda player than I am. She knows how to get all 96 exits in Super Mario World. She's a big fan of Katamari Damacy, although frankly, not all that good at it. She is a big fan of, let's see, what else does she say? 1, 2, 3, 4, get your motorcycle on the floor. 1, 2, 3. Quick check, did I away. Did I see the 3 mark? Yes, I see the 3 mark. Fold up, fold over, and fold in to slots. Okay, so this looks like a gear shift. Was it supposed to be a sequel to Chrono Cross? Like, are they in the same universe? Or trigger, whatever. You understood the question I was asking. Okay, the brake lever and ignition switch. Now, make the right handlebar itself look for the R mark. Okay, so this one's got a ton of things we can punch out. Punch, punch, kick, punch. It's all in the mind. If you want to test me, I'm sure you'll find that the things I'll teach you is sure to beat you. But nevertheless, you'll get a lesson from teacher. Now kick, 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 punch. So yeah, so other than... I think there was one thing that I had, one minor, like, had to go back and unfold it thing. Pretty much every time I put something together from IKEA, I find that there is something that I, like, am positive I'm doing right, and then I get farther in the process and realize, like, I put one of the things in backwards. Every goddamn time. So... Bum, 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 bum. Yeah, so I wrote a lot of code this week. It was extremely exhausting. I got the code that I needed to get done, checked in and done today, which is good, but it is much later than I wanted it to be. I had hoped to basically spend all of this week just writing documentation about things that I know that other people don't know, and instead now I'm going to have to be kind of sitting in the back of the room during our conference next week and doing that, which not what I really wanted to do, but you know, so it goes. And it's really just because, well, there's a couple different reasons. I was depending on things that were supposed to be done weeks before they were, which was frustrating. And then the other thing is just that, like, I'm just not very good at writing. Like, I was writing in a language I don't speak very well, which is C++ is not exactly known for being straightforward and easy for beginners to learn. I was writing in a framework that I've never used before for data processing because it's the one that had the support I needed. And I was also, I know, I folded well. I got it. Fast forward, faster forward. Yeah, so I'm changing teams on in a week and a half. So on the 4th, I'll be working on the open source for the open source projects office at Google. And so that means that I'm leaving my current team, and there's a bunch of things that I do for my current team that, not that I necessarily, you know, they're like critical on a daily basis, but they're important, that really I'm kind of the only one who does them at the moment. And so, you know, trying to document what I can for my team is important, and one of the things that I'm trying to do. Got it. Okay, lock it in place with this little tab. Wow. Alright. And I assume that it's going to have me fold this over. Fold this piece up and lock this in place. Yes. Okay. It really is well done. Like, I really think that, like, the app is... I mean, I've said this several times, so if you've been here watching this, you've already heard this a million times, but the inventiveness, the build is fun, the software that helps you do the build is fun, the apps themselves are... I mean, I've only done the piano app, really, but the piano app was well done. Like, there's so many things in here that are just, like, they're really good. Fold these in. Fold carefully along with the video. Okay, so this folds up. In. Got it. Time to test the ignition switch. Be gentle with your pressing. Yeah, so you see this kind of moves a little bit. So. Yeah, IKEA or I Alan Rencia. There you go, you got it. Bam. Okay, now we're gonna make 2 triangular arches. Are they golden? I don't know. But yeah, lava stuff is cool. It's a cool project. I should really do one of them. Like the fishing pole, I will probably just do with Julie. because I think she might be able to enjoy it. She and I have actually done a couple different things. I actually get these Tinker crates that I signed up for at one point, because I wanted something other than her being on the phone to do with her. And I was actually looking around. I'm like, I mean, what did I do when I was a kid? Like, I just went on the computer all the time. So I actually went ahead and subscribed to one of those, loot box type services that offered like little wooden cutout builds and other things like that, so you can build a ballista, and you can, they had a slime thing and other things like that. And so she and I have done a couple of those, but not a lot of them. McDowell's has the golden arcs. I don't know what we're talking about here. Make sure the printed markings match up. Yeah, they won't actually. So this is an interesting thing. These tabs won't actually fit if you have it upside down, because like a power plug, they're actually, the top one is bigger than the bottom one. Okay. Now crease the folds nicely on the other side. Yeah, this is one. This is actually looks like a tooth. Time is it? Tooth hurdy. We're coming to America. Do-do-do-do-do-do-do. We're coming to America. ICE will deport you and kill you. We're coming to America. They'll steal your children and lose them too. We're coming to America. Alright, got that in, I believe. Follow along here. Ba-ba-bum, ba-ba-bum, bow. Okay, now we need 2 of these round stoppers. So yes, I have never seen Coming to America. I have heard a song called Coming to America. I was just, it doesn't have the same lyrics that I was just singing there. A little bit different. Okay, what are we doing with these stoppers? Folding them in here and just sliding them in. Other one as well. Get out of here. Get out of here. You do see I end up with this like whole pile of little like itty bitty bits. Kind of funny to like wrap them all up at the end, and you've got this giant pile of these tiny pieces. They're not really good for anything, so I just tossed them, but they definitely stack up in the end. Okay, we got that, and now we got this thing, which we're gonna punch these out. This handlebar is the accelerator. It needs another special stopper. Fold the piece in half. Fold it neatly in half. I mean, I don't really want my cats, like, chewing on tiny pieces of cardboard, because then they get everywhere. So, it's not really great. And notch here, so I assume through the notch lines up. Oh, no, it goes all the way in. Ugh, slide. Yeah, so this is one of the cases that I think is pretty tight, and if you did not fold carefully there, that could be a problem for you, but I mean, Brad, it's YouTube. It's always broken. Always. 5% of YouTube is always broken, which 5% moves around a lot. Punch out some more of these little bits. I have never seen any of the movies we're talking about. So on Monday, I guess there was a Supreme Court ruling about the use of forced arbitration for resolution of employment disagreements, where employees discrimination, right? Whether employees can be forced into arbitration when settling discrimination things. Arbitration is a non-judicial court system. It's targeted and favors, at this point, basically the big corporations, and is oftentimes forced on you in terms of service agreements, as well as in the case of many tech workers and others, in your employment contract. And so if I want to sue Google because they screwed something up while I was working for them, I don't get to do that through the normal court system. I have to do it through arbitration, which is not great. And while it's not great for things in general, it's even more not great when it is a discrimination case. It's one of the things that Uber actually just said they would stop doing, is forcing people who say they've suffered, I think, sexual harassment will no longer have to go through arbitration in order to resolve their complaints. Alrighty. Who knew building a motorbike was so challenging? I mean, I thought building a motorbike would be pretty challenging. I'm really not surprised by that, I'd have to say. Of the things that are challenging, I would say building a motorbike is high up there on the list. If you Google, for me, it usually just gives Google as a result. Maybe it does something else. Aw, violent sex neighbor is gone. That's sad. Alright, got here. Okay, so I fold up these bits to make a little cup holder. And I... slide this bit in. Add this. I mean, there's another question you could, like, the one that's funnier and is actually an Easter egg is if you Google recursion, the definition that comes back is kind of interesting. I think there's also a result for is Google down right now? Or is Google down or something like that, which provides a funny one-box answer as well. Okay, so I folded this thing and I shouldn't have. Okay, in. Okay, R. Click the design to me. That's right, Mike. Google doesn't find weapons of mass destruction. They just make software. Okay. See the printed line on the handlebar from here. Yes. And finally, it's time for the other circles. Is it a lightsaber now? It's not yet. It will be, though. Just wait. Anybody seen Solo yet? I saw that my friend Mark Chambers saw Solo. Seemed very happy with it. Bought himself a Solo sweatshirt, I guess, as well. I've also seen some people who are like, I am so tired of all of these movies focusing on these characters I don't care about. There are so many more interesting characters in the world. I guess there's a movie rumored, at least, of like Boba Fett being a next Star Wars movie, which I can understand how that might be kind of like, you know, more interesting characters than Boba Fett in the Star Wars universe. I would kind of be down with like a Leia or with no, like even like a more minor character, like Amidala was off like doing shit for a while. Like she must be interesting. But there's also like a whole, well, I guess they killed the expanded universe technically or something. I don't know, complex, but recursion. Recursion is the other word that I mentioned. Okay, so we've got these circles in, circled and circled. Great. Now, Oh, I need 2 small rubber bands. Need lots of power, so we're gonna add 2 of them at once. Okay. Come here, little rubber bands. I see you. Oh yeah, I guess there was also the Arrested Development interview with what's his face, and Jason Bateman totally like silenced Jessica what's her face about what's his face, Jeff Tambor or whatever, yelling. I was like, that guy got upset about that girl doing a thing and told her basically like, yeah, but everyone's like that or something. I don't know. I didn't read the transcript or do anything else. I just heard a lot of people upset about it. So self-driving motorcycles is actually a thing we were talking about at work today. So I guess another thing that happened today was the NTSB released their here. Oh, second. Okay, so I hook onto here with 2 of them. Yeah. It's clever. Just a little bit cute. Okay. Here we go. This feels... How I feel about this. Not done with small rubber bands yet. Well, that's a good thing I didn't put them all back in the bag. Alright, 2 small rubber bands. Oh. Both rubber bands, hook them around the 2 tabs on the other side. Alright. And we're going to hook those around. So this part is a bit finicky. The time does not work for me. But yeah, so if you could pick any character in the Star Wars universe, like who would you want to have a full movie about? I haven't actually seen most of the new Star Wars. Like, I know Rey is a character because I saw her in something. But that's kind of it. Okay, so now, when I turn this, and then let go, it goes back this way. Hello, Matsus. Welcome to the stream. Well, I already said Princess Leia, so you gotta get a new one. Is Revon a character? I don't know who that is. Anyway, so yes, this is going to be the right handlebar. Gonna go like this. Oh, right, and so this is gonna be fixed, and I'm gonna pull this way to speed up. Somehow, probably. Okay, cool. Right. Chewbacca! Yeah, so I think Chewbacca's probably covered in Solo. I haven't seen it yet, but I'm kind of assuming. I know he's at least included, because he's in the trailers. So, there's that. Alright. The right handlebar is complete. Do I want to get a drink of water or something? No, but I do want to get a drink of beer. Alright, so tonight's beer is going to be the Cursed Kettle's Barrel-Aged Fruited Sour Ale from Upland Sour Ales. This is a blended work of art. Alright. There are a number of ways to brew a sour beer. Cursed Kettles explores just about all of them. Brewed in collaboration with our friends at Prairie Artisanal Ales in Tulsa, Oklahoma, this beer is an exploration of method. The base beer is kettle soured with lactobacillus from Prairie and fermented with 100% Brettanomyces. Finally, we aged the beer in previously used wine and bourbon barrels with figs and black cherries for a total of 3 months. The result is a sour beer with deep ruby hues, aromas of dark fruits and funk, and complex flavors from both the fruit and brewing process. We hope you enjoy the explorative nature of this beer as much as we do. Oh yeah, so my t-shirt is a obviously a play off of the original Legend of Zelda. It says, "It's dangerous to go alone. use Signal, use Tor, and has these are the old Signal and Tor logos. So this was put together by Parker Higgins on Twitter. His name is Exor, who is an EFF and privacy advocate. And so he put this shirt together as a way to encourage people to, of course, use encrypted communications technologies in order to communicate. One of the things about encrypted communications technologies like Signal and Tor is that the more regular people use them, the more safe that dissidents who need to use them are. The problem with a lot of encryption technologies is that just by encrypting something, you're sending a strong signal that it's interesting to the types of people who look for that type of thing. Hello, Rin! And so, yeah, so this is my sour here. We're going to pour this with just a little bit of head. Go. Exactly what I was looking for. Pig Latin probably is not going to achieve the same type of results that you're looking for, I will admit. So I will say that I did not, like, magically know this. Learning how to put beer in a glass is something that I have learned as a result of doing it a lot on stream. So, cheers. Thanks all for being here and hanging out. Another tasty sour from Woodland Ales. Ooh. Got a bit of a sour kick at the end of it, though. Okay, so let me try this again. Yeah, so the front is very mild, but the kind of the second swig that you get in there, you get a bit of a burn of the cherries or something like that in there. So encrypted Navajo seems like it would work, but the reality is that one of the things that people can look for in software is kind of more random gobbledygook. And while Navajo is, I believe, it certainly in World War II was a very difficult code to break. I think it still has patterns that make it seem like speech as opposed to kind of the random number generators that cryptographic stuff looks like. So Mike, how do you know exactly what a hyperactive Starbucks barista's urine sample looks like? Because I really kind of want to know the answer to that. Bump, bump. All right. Do I want to get a drink of water or something? No, I want to get a drink of beer. I accidentally bumped this up and bumped it down. Okay. So we are on sheet C, which I've got here. Bump this. Actually, hold on. Get some water off the table here. Just condensation from that sour. It is quite warm in this room, and I pulled it out of the fridge, of course. Serve chilled, it says. Should enable 2FA on everything, says the man who doesn't enable 2FA on almost anything. My Google accounts have it. My GitHub account has it, but frankly didn't until Google made me do it. Let's see, something else I feel like. Apple, handful of other things, I guess. But, okay. So that is sheet C. And I don't care about this little mini thing. We're gonna pop this big sheet out here. Move this handlebar out of the way. Also grab. Yeah, so what you can see here is that if you look at this sheet in the top left of your screen there, you can see that the middle pieces of this are not actually important and are intended to be punched out. So we can take this, punch it out, punch it out, punch it out. I think that that's actually it. Everything else is actually a tab. But yeah, the difference between these, and this is all punch. The difference between these and the other things on the sheet is really not obvious. Like some of the tabs, I've never actually at this point like punched a tab out, but I'm always afraid I'm going to. So we'll go ahead and punch out this. I think those. Oh, one more, 4. Look at these 4 little pieces here. have definitely gotten the email that says, like, hey, you should change your password because someone logged in with your username and password, and we blocked them because you're in the Ukraine. They're in the Ukraine or whatever, but this is bad news bears. And I'm like, but I didn't, oh, but I don't want that. All right. Go ahead and do that. This is later. E and F. Okay. E. This is a big piece here. Ugh. Yeah, so the reason that sometimes you pull things off the sheets out of order is just a, like, compactness thing. They've done a really good job at fitting all these different sheets together. Again, the design problem that has to go into this is just really interesting, right? You gotta come up with a design, but then you gotta come up with a design that kind of fits ideally-ish onto a small number of pieces of cardboard. And in the process of doing so, you're probably actually changing the design to some extent to kind of make it all work together, given... I mean, as there's enough space and there's enough different pieces here that maybe you just, you know, whatever you design is there. But I honestly just, like, I don't even know how you design taking an object and turning it into, like, a build project from cardboard. It's just like that's not an optimization task that we've yet built computers that can just do. That certainly required a lot of human involvement in the process. So, all right, we've got to do. Hello, Stingray. Not what I thought it was going Alright, so this is not the Nintendo Labo music, sadly. But my cam link is just not doing the right thing there. So we'll put a little bit of music on the background, so at least we got something going on. Yeah. Okay. Barely touched. What do you mean? Look at what I've had off of this. Look. It's fine. Alright, Stingray. A little bit disappointed that I'm here, not because I don't love all of you, because we know that I do, and attention, but instead because it means that I am not in LA visiting my daughter, which is where I expected to be tonight. So that is a little bit sad. Unfortunately, Mrs. CPG was sick, and we were not able to fly out to LA, as was our initial plan. On the other side, that means that I get to be here with all of you, and I am happy for that. So, I'm happy to be here and happy to be hanging out with everybody. Okay, so these things are all little punch-outs too, and I didn't even freaking know that. So, hello, Avery Johnson, the Page Man. How's it going? How's it going? 3D print an army of killer robots. Well, I think they're going to have to get beyond cardboard before we have to worry about that. In general, it is not my belief that most technology companies, whether they are Nintendo or otherwise, are really interested in killer robot printing. You know, that it's hard to sell things to people that you have killed with killer robots, so it's not really a great idea if you're making money from them. I don't need to put it in a baby bottle, I just need to drink it. Anyway, hello dog, as I mentioned you earlier, we talked a little bit about Chrono Cross and Chrono Trigger, because I can never remember that Chrono Trigger is the good one and Chrono Cross is the bad one. I think Chrono Trigger is the original and Chrono Cross is a sequel. Something like that. But mentioned you were, I believe, going to be streaming that tonight. And I am here streaming, putting together some things from the Nintendo Labo. Space Quest or Police Quest. So the problem with most of those games, those are like point-and-click adventures from the whenever times. So the biggest problem that I've had with like point-and-click style games is that they're not... Like, the gameplay was basically designed to be, like, be lost and confused for several hours, and then solve a puzzle. And then be lost and confused for several hours, and then solve a puzzle. So unless I'm just following a walkthrough, they're not actually super interesting to watch because there's not, like, most of the time you're just lost. So I could just follow a walkthrough, like, that's a thing that I could do, but it's not, like, it's super compelling, to watch someone just follow a walkthrough. Oh, written? Yeah, so, like, King Quest, right, is another example. Like, King's Quest is a, is very much a game that, you know, it's like a text adventure, only in graphical form, but, like, wandering around a text adventure is just kind of boring, in the process of it. I think I did that wrong somehow. Wants me to, like, fold this up. Fold it in. Rub it in, rub it in, rub it in your skin, and do-do-do. And then I got a left thing over here. So, like, I think that those games are solid games. I'm just not convinced that they're good streaming. And I think that there's a real difference there that sometimes people don't realize. And for me, I mean, this is the same as my general rule is no RPGs, right? And the reason my rule is no RPGs is because there's a lot of grinding in RPGs and they take a long time and other things like that. Okay, so that works. I got my buttons here. Okay, cool. Now you can start to see how it looks like a motorcycle with a throttle and so on and so forth. Alright, so that is locked in. What am I doing here? Push these two tabs on the inside. Them into what? Oh, okay. Alright, so these all kind of snap through this little area here to create little locks in that are going to hold my handlebars in place. So I kind of shove through the cardboard there. This is also an example of where being cardboard is actually useful because I actually had, like, that cardboard had to bend a little bit to get into that spot. And that's something that obviously if this was laser cut wood or something, that wouldn't work. So they've used the fact that cardboard is a little bit flexible to actually give you more ability there, so. The dig. Do I have a motorcycle helmet? Like, you don't think that this propeller hat, like, gives me the protection that I might need? I think I'm good. Time to check the accelerator. Can I feel the rubber bands at work? I can. Look at that. Bow, bow. Alright, now we're going to make a special extra thick stick. Lay this piece out with the printed side down. Okay, you handle, go away. Printed side down. And, oh, we didn't pop out all these again. So yeah, the reality is that for those games, unless you know what you're doing, you're going to spend a lot of time lost. They're great games, they're fun to play, but they're not great streaming games because watching me wander around for an hour or two not doing anything is not really that interesting. Or roll the whole left side, so each fold firmly as you go. Okay, interesting. What am I doing? Going? Oh, I need to slot this in. So the interesting thing here is that, like, this has dividing line, like folding lines that you're supposed to fold on along these lines. Oh, and then I fold the other way. And as you fold, the gaps between them get wider. So if you look at these, like, this is a small gap, this is a bigger gap, this is a bigger gap. Because as you roll it, of course, the cardboard gets thicker. And so the need to give it more room so it can fold effectively. What am I? Rolling pad. Okay. Alright. Now I take this and slot it in here. Now I have a shovel. So yeah, so I did, that's one of the first things I did, you know, so my very first kind of scheduled, planned ahead stream was my extra live stream back in 2015. And I actually played at like 3 in the morning, Return to Zork. Okay, so now I got a left and a right stick. That is going to go through the top of this. I fold that in. Okay, I fold that in. Ugh. All right. You and me, Mr. Cardboard. We're gonna go. Oh. Smacking it was not the right approach. Go. There we go. Okay, cool. Now I've got a little thing along the top. Great. But yeah, so Secret of Monkey Island is definitely like another example. Good game, like fun back in the day. Actually, Retro Ahoy. Ahoy is another YouTube gaming channel. It's one of my favorite YouTube gaming channels. So Game Maker's Toolkit and Ahoy are the two favorite gaming channels I have. They both kind of do in-depth analysis, one more so than the other. So Ahoy's videos are typically something like like on Secret of Monkey Island, it's like an hour long. On Doom, he did an hour. On the games of the 1980s, like Nuclear Fruit was an hour. But they're good solid documentaries that you could imagine having on a channel. And he just did one on the Secret of Monkey Island that he spent about 4 months working on, which I have not actually watched all of yet. I've watched about 20 minutes of it, and then I fell asleep. I still need to go back and finish that one up. All right, so I need to punch out some of these bits here again. Should this be colored? Okay, so I guess maybe the cross hatches on some of them are supposed to indicate, like, hey, this is a piece you're not going to need. Last known LucasArts adventure game. But yeah, so Lucy Cell, I think Stingray, you actually played something of the Tentacle, right? All those games are fun, they're just not good streaming games. And I do think that Brad is correct that they didn't hold up, but there's a lot of games I played that haven't really held up. So that's not in and of itself a cause for concern. It's more that, you know, they're not even that fun to watch someone fail at. Cheers. On Pirates, we will have to agree to disagree, Brad. I do not feel that game has held up. I feel it lacks a meaningful tutorial. You get tossed in the game, and unless you know how to play the game, you're never going to learn how to play the game. Now, that's not like that's a surprise. It's a common failing of most games of the time. It's like sticking a tutorial mode into the 256K of RAM you had or whatever was not really the wisest thing to do. People are going to sit down and figure it out no matter what. But for me, means that even when I try to play Pirates, I do not do well at playing Pirates. Okay, what do we got here? Is the music too loud, by the way? I can turn it down if it's overpowering my lovely dulcet tones. I realize the music is actually not nearly as cool as the Labo music, and I'm disappointed that my cam link is giving me crap, but I don't want to be fiddling with it and trying to like mess with my computer in the middle of the stream, because I know how annoying that is. Okay, too quiet, definitely not too loud. Alright, we'll even turn it up a little bit. It's not super exciting music either, so Again, let me know if that ends up not working out. Okay. Fold, 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 all the things. What are we gonna do next? Okay, fold up this middle piece here. Is it a little bit less ambient now? Or is it still equally ambient? How am I signed out of YouTube? YouTube. What the fuck? Oh, good fucking Christ. How did I... Never mind. Ignore... No, I didn't click on YouTube. I clicked on fucking RuClip, which is a YouTube stealing website. And now I'm angry that I've been watching a video through them for the past, like, blank time. Alright, for the time being, I'm just gonna turn that off. I'm gonna go back to broken cam link sound. Okay, so hold on, let me go back. We're folding this up. YouTube sounds like the type of thing that you might want to go to, but not on accident. Alright. Snap this in. So what we've got so far is actually a motorcycle handle. The little bit here in the middle I think is actually not really that relevant to me because I expect it is designed to hold the Switch. And obviously I will be continuing to play with the Switch in its dock. Yeah. Bump, 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 bump. They have a Pornhub VPN service? I didn't know that. I don't really understand the point. Every system administrator knows that everybody looks at porn, so it feels like a bit of a waste to pay for a VPN just to look at porn. Any boss that's gonna try and any company that's gonna try and get you in trouble for looking at porn at work is not the kind of company you want to work for, because everyone looks at porn at work. So, actually one of the things that you have to agree to when you start working at I think this on the right side. Agree to when you start to work at Google is like I may be subjected to like harmful imagery or whatever else like that, because I think it stems a little bit more when the company was just search, and like in any search engine like a large percentage of the queries are just porn. So, you know, you got real problems there if you've got people who are not comfortable seeing like pornographic images and are going to attempt to, you know, fight with Google over it or whatever. Okay, so what am I doing? I've got this box here. Open it wide before inserting the hand. Left. Right. All right. We got here. All right. Now, yeah, so you can see here, this is the platform that the Switch would normally live in. Pretty sure. Oh, I messed up. Back up a little bit. Something more to put in here. Like, okay, you. What do we got here? We got. That was announced yesterday. Got it. Yeah. I mean, to be fair, Pornhub is a company that clearly has like socially conscious computing as one of the things that it considers. They've joked about, you know, going out and having the Pornhub logo put on plows to help people get plowed out of like snowbanks and stuff like that during Boston snowstorms. Of course, a local reporter tried to look into that and could not actually get any information about these Pornhub snowplows that did not appear to be coming directly from the company. They've done a lot of really interesting work in data analysis. It's kind of funny, actually. Every time that Pornhub does some kind of data analysis, which is like, you know, oh, people stop watching in the UK during, you know, the soccer match or whatever else like that, I go and I do the same, you know, investigation with YouTube data. But of course, we don't publish those results because that would be anti-Googly. And so, but it's funny how, like, most of the time you look at them and it's like, yeah, this isn't really just a porn thing. Really, the story here is that people, you know, stop doing all kinds of online video things at the same time. And that Pornhub and YouTube actually share a lot of characteristics as places that people go to waste time on the internet. Oh, did they do a thing about that? That doesn't surprise. So that's a case where I expect that we would have the opposite result of so like the meteor strike. There's like a meteor event to launch season 4 of Fortnite, I feel like, and that was a big deal. Like, a lot of people decided that they were going to stream that. So that was like, at one point I'm having a conversation and someone's like, hey, does anyone know like why this graph like looks so odd? And I'm like, isn't that like, you know, is that overnight on May 1st or whatever? And they're like, yeah. And I'm like, that's when Fortnite dropped a new, you know, content patch or whatever. So everyone was streaming the meteor hitting at midnight part of the event. They're like, oh, yep. Why does, oh, never mind. I guess that's not fixed yet. Oh, YouTube, your chat is so broken and dumb. It shows me some falsehoods. The main body is complete. Look at that. I am a golden god. I'm halfway through. I'm halfway through. Seems like a good spot to stretch my legs. Okay, well, fine. Then we'll stretch my goddamn legs. We'll briefly make the music actually come back. That's my style. Alright. So data analysis has been my job at YouTube for the past 4 years, and for the 2.5 years before that, I did that primarily at Nokia. And before that, I kind of didn't. I did more app development at Metacarta and in the early days of Nokia. But now I'm switching to open source. And that's really an interesting transition for me. Now, open source is not a new concept to me. I've been doing open source development since I began developing software. I worked, my initial, like, the first time I ever used version control was to work on LiveJournal back in 2002, 2003. I have been working in running open communities. I founded a open source project that is now used by tens of thousands of people. Back in 2005, I have open sourced like 3 or 4 open source projects that kind of took off. Livestream Alerts, the website that I run, is open source, but it's still going to be interesting to go back and see like what can I do at Google. And it's interesting just to look around and realize like how much of what Google does these days is already being open sourced. So I was kind of amused when, oh, thanks for subscribing, Monkey Zombie. I was kind of amused when I went today and I was writing some code and I was like, you know, looking to use a function, and they're like, oh yeah, I just tossed this in here, and it was an abseil. It was an abseil function. And abseil used to be like an internal Google library. It was like our Google-based library. And I think abseil is sort of like Boost or other things like that. It's like a library full of functions to extend the C standard library. And I like included it, and they're like, no, you have to include the third party in there. And I'm like, but Abseil isn't third party. And it's like, but it kind of is. So as far as internal Google development is concerned, we replaced our whole base library with one that is actually open source and other people can contribute to. And so when I build code, I just go and I depend on that, and that's like the default thing you're expected to do, which I think is kind of interesting. I screwed up somehow. Oh no, okay, this is where I'm gonna go next. Alright, that's fine. Hello, Sketch Squad! Chrome is open source. Like practically speaking, the differences between Chromium and Chrome are like not like super strictly defined, and for the average person, almost all of the parts you care about in Chrome are open source. Technically speaking, like the build, like if you built the open source part, you wouldn't get exactly Chrome, you would get something a little bit different from it, in the same way that if you built like just the open source parts of Firefox, you might get something different as well. Like I know Debian had to fuck with things because like of trademark guidelines or whatever else like that. So that's why Debian has Iceweasel instead of Firefox sometimes, blah, blah, blah. But in general, yes, Chrome is open source, Android is open source, large chunks of the Google like core C libraries are open source, yeah. Anyway, hello Sketch Squad, we are putting together some Labo parts tonight. F. Alright, so we're gonna pop this out. It is true that Android is less open source than the rest. I will totally grant that. Oh god! Oh god! Oh no, I lost it. I got it. I got it! But it is, I mean, so like the Fire tablet, like that, like Amazon has produced its own version of those things. And so it's not impossible. And the open source parts of Chrome, or of Android, can still do things, even if what they let you do is not make a phone. I do agree that it is not, like, Android is not an open source cell phone platform without doing a lot of work on your own. But I do think that that's, and yeah, so. And that's a way in which it's different than Chrome. If you built the open source version of Chrome and you used it, it's going to have most of the bits. If you built the open source version of Android and used it, it's going to be lacking a lot of the bits that you think are important. But they are still open source libraries. There's still a lot of open source things that you can see. I mean, even something as simple as like the Android emojis are included in the open source bits of Android licensing. Are covered under the Apache 2 license, and so those font like glyphs are something that you can, you know, have and use whatever else like that. So okay, so I think I got the pieces. I got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay. Oh, and the single piece from sheet H. Sheet H, the Ocho. So I work on the 8th floor of my current building, and there are, although not for much longer, I think I've actually worked my last day at my desk on the 8th floor. I just realized that, because I'm going to be moving over to the 6th floor in another building. I switched to my new team, I think. But yeah, so I work on the 8th floor, and it doesn't have like a number outside the door, and so someone wrote a handwritten note that says 8 the Ocho, and so when I want to come back from lunch, I walk until I see the sign that says the Ocho, and I go in there. So I'm putting together the motorcycle. So this is, oh, I forgot that I didn't switch back to the Labo cam. So this is the handle for it, and I'm currently building the tank and the dashboard. This is going to be the Labo motorcycle when we're done. Not going to put him in the box. I don't care about your stupid instruction. Do what I want. don't have any cats in here. They're not going to eat it. So yeah, but it's interesting, you know, so and then I was in a conversation, so I've been attending, like, there's a bi-weekly, like, what is the team working on meeting at work, for my new team, and they were talking recently about this, like, this library inside Google in Go, and he was like, yeah, I'm really disappointed that this isn't, like, included in the open source, like, Go community. And the manager of the team was like, well, like, open source it then. Like, we should open source it then. So we don't do a lot of the open source. The new team I work on, I say we, I'm not technically there yet, but I will be soon. We don't do the open sourcing ourselves for the most part. We manage the tools and we manage the GitHub integration. We help people, you know, deal with plugins. We write the documentation. And our goal is to make open source, like, easier for people inside Google to do, so that, you know, you don't have to have, like, a really annoying process. So open sourcing things at Nokia was effectively, like, impossible. Spent months and months and months trying to do it. And in fact, I open sourced a project at Nokia, and I'm pretty sure the only reason is that because essentially someone who is, like, VP level wanted to use it for his the startup he was going and working on. His relationship with the company was always very weird. But yeah, so he was the founder of Metacarta, and at the same time he was working at Nokia, he was also sort of often doing his own thing on this other startup-y thing that eventually became his business for the government. And so the only reason we open sourced it was because he was doing this contract, and it required him to open source the code in order to do the contract for the government. And so, like, the only reason I open sourced code at Nokia was because my boss was like, well, I need you to open source this so I can sell the government a thing that I'm working on that will become my next startup. Which is a really weird path of events to go down to get to open sourcing a project, you have to admit. It was always, like, I didn't figure this out until, like, he was already pretty far along in the process, but yeah, that was an interesting path to realize that I had helped him go down, is that. But John was always a special guy. I always said he was the best snake oil salesman. And to be fair, like, he was my manager at Metacarta for 4 years. He's a terrible manager. And he knows that, which is why, like, he was the founder, and immediately, like, as soon as he founded the company, he was like, okay, I need to get someone else to be CEO because I can't do this job. So open sourcing things, I mean, it depends entirely on your company. So at Google, the process is basically like you, what do we want this to face the R? Okay. Cover him up. Okay, and then I made a couple of these long stoppers. So at Google, the process is this. At Google, the process is that you take the code that you want to open source, you fill out a launch calendar entry that says, I want to open source it to this GitHub URL. You run a tool which goes over the source code and confirms that all of your files have a license header. You follow a couple of instructions, like you have to have a README that describes it. It has to, all the copyrights have to say, like, copyright Google, blah, blah, blah. And then once you've done all those things, you fill out this thing that just says, like, hey, I'd like to open source this project. It has to be approved by the people who run the GitHub account, which is, like, now my team. So, like, someone from my team, specifically at the moment, you know, one of the people on my team currently, goes and double checks that you're using an appropriate GitHub location. So, for example, if it's a personal project, you can check it into a personal repository. Otherwise, it goes in under a Google name somewhere. Blah blah blah. And then the compliance folks check that there's no copyright or trademark issues or anything else like that in release. So they want to make sure that you're not, like, releasing a personal project that's called, like, G-Fiber or something stupid like that. And a little bit. All right, I got it. And then your director approves that you're releasing this code, which is mostly just like a, we want Google has to have someone to yell at if something goes wrong, for legal reasons probably, and then you can open source it. 3 people check boxes, and now you can go open source your project. There's basically no meaningful or difficult approval process to it. It's just a series of checkboxes that you run through, which is great. So that's like Livestream Alerts is open source. It required no anything else like that. So if you wanted to, so like Livestream Alerts is an example of that, right? Like I wrote Livestream Alerts on my own time, on my own computer, on my own anything else like that, and I open sourced it under the Google name. Now, if you want to, sometimes you can get, like, if you wanted to own the copyright and not have it be open source so that you could do whatever you want with it, that's a different story and requires a more involved process that has to go through review and blah, blah, blah. But if Google owns the copyright to it and there's nothing in it that's like the secret sauce of ranking or something like that, then there's just a ton of things that get open source. And like Google software developers open source something like 5 to 10 projects per day. So if you go to opensource.google.com, you can see all types of projects, some of which are personal, some of which are not, that are out there that people have open sourced from Google. So but yeah, sorry, Brad's answer is not talking about at Google and is more like what you want. Yes, live stream alerts is still up. Probably doesn't comply with the GDPR, but other than that, it's still there. But yeah, if you want to open source something, if you wrote some software and you want to open source it, you just publish it. You slap a license on it, you publish it, and you say, hey, this is open source. Like, you want it, come and get it. And so, like, when you don't work for a company that claims to own everything that you do, it's really, really easy. Now, when you do work for a company in tech, it's a different situation. And most companies make it much more difficult, I think, than Google. At least that's the goal. Our goal is to make it easier to open source things at Google than it is anywhere else. I don't think you're going to be able to sue me for billions. My revenue is 0. That was a condition of working at Google, that my revenue has to be 0 for that project. Sadly. Alright. I folded all those lines. Yeah. Come on, let's go. Double fast forward. Alright. As I expected, I fold all these things up. I fold in. So, I think there's an open question, Brad. I think that in registering your account, you gave me implicit consent to store your email address. I say that I believe that because people have clearly chosen to use fake accounts, and that indicates that they believed that they were going to give me my email address to look at, and therefore I think that I have your consent to store your email. You email me. The answer is that as the data controller, if someone were to email me and say, I would like you to delete all my data, I just would. I actually don't think implicit consent isn't a thing. That's true. That process is not on the site. Alright. Hello, Chris GC8. Look at this. Look at this. Look. So here's you hold this against your chest, and then you can turn back and forth. You can do this, do everything else like that. So there you go. But yeah, so if you don't work for a company, there's really nothing to open sourcing at all. You gotta learn, like, GitHub will happily tell you, like, how to get init in a directory. You toss some code in there, and you're done. So Stingray, if you wanted to check in, for example, I mean, I guess you don't have your website, your stingraygaming.com website anymore, but if you wanted to open source your website, like, you absolutely could. You toss a license file in the root directory, and you go to github.com, register an account, and say, like, make me a new repository. Boom, bang, done. I'm not sure what the GDPR thinks about that. I think that deleting your data has to be easier than that. But yeah, no, I have just decided, like, GDPR compliance, I mean, the reality is, of course, nobody gives a shit about GDPR compliance from my website. I'm not doing anything sketchy with your data. I'm not even using it to, like, retarget advertising or anything else like that. Although I did consider it briefly at one point to try and get people to come back. I don't know, but then I was like, I'm not making any money off of this. Like, why do I care? In fact, when I have more people use the site, I lose money because I have to pay for a bigger host. It's one of the nice things about the fact that my usage has dropped by like 25% is that I was really running up against the resource limits of my host before, and now that has gone away because I don't have as many users anymore. So yeah, didn't make any sense. I think that the reality is that most people have less direct selling of your data going on than people think. I think a lot of people think Google resells your data, and Google and Facebook don't, for the most part, resell your data. I mean, this was a discussion during the Cambridge Analytica scandal. Is like, oh, Google, like, Facebook is just upset that they didn't get paid. It's like, no, Facebook doesn't want other people to have that data. They want to come to Facebook and use Facebook to advertise to me based on information that only Facebook has. Sponge stickers from the bag. Okay, I got some. But my resale value is at double. So there are organizations out there that sell your data. It is definitely true. But it's not the like user facing websites. You know, my opinions are my own and not those of my employer, but it's really not about Google or Facebook or Twitter or whatever selling your data directly. They would much rather people come to them and continue to pay them to advertise on Facebook, not sell that data as a one-time thing. That would make no sense for them. Oh shit, I just did that wrong. God damn it. I think I can still. Um, yeah, so they that's not what they want. Um, and But there are companies out there that do resell your data. They aggregate demographic information and other things like that. They sell it to political campaigns. They sell it to all kinds of things like that. I think, in fact, political campaigns are like huge collectors of personal information that they then sell to other like groups who are in the same political party. Hillary Clinton's mailing list is one of those like things that has, you know, is considered to be worth a shit ton of money, and the reason is because like building those resources is hard, and they sell them for a lot of money. But it's not the companies that are it's not the social media companies that are doing that. They don't want to sell your data. They don't want other people to have it. They want to build a unique view of the graph that they can use to sell you more ads and more eyeballs, because they want more people coming to their properties. I mean, not from a like an evil perspective, just from a practical cost perspective. There's no number of dollars that selling your personal information could, like, Google could assign to a purchase like that is worth more than in the long run than just having that information that they can kind of target you, all the other things specifically on. All right, so I got here. All right, so these little sponge stickers actually don't matter because again, they're for holding switch in place, and I don't intend to ever use the switch that way, but that's okay. Got it anyway. Yeah, you want to keep the data for you. Of course you do. Like, why would you do anything else? hold it to make halves and divide them in. Yeah, I don't know Metro PCS specifically, but certainly there are lots of weird middlemen that you've never heard of that do a lot of this, and are kind of like these third-party data aggregators that try and do all kinds of things. A lot of which is basically just comes down to like, we have looked at the zip code that you live in, and by doing that, we have determined that you are like, that I am like black because the zip code I live in is 63%, you know, African American or something like that. So. Why is my noise gate so high? I think it's not that my noise gate is so high, but rather that my voice is so low. And the reason for that is because I am looking away from the mic. And that is causing me to talk in a weird way. Exactly, Stingray. So let me know if my voice cuts out less. Okay. Now I've got a switch holder for my motorcycle. Won't be using it, but I've got it anyway. About to start testing our bike now, so just so you know, this is how we ride. Figure out how to point this more. Oh. There we go, there we go. Yeah, so when I look over here, my guess is that my volume is a lot lower because I'm not facing the bike, which is directional. Okay. Grab one handle in each hand and try tilting to the left and right. Am I getting into biker mood? Whoa, 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 whoa. Whoa, 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 whoa. The tank and dash are complete. So no, you do not sit on it. You hold it and against your chest and lean and tilt. Do I need to use the restroom or anything? No, but I will take that as a sign that it's time to drink more beer. Yeah, keyboard and mouse are hard because they're so close. That's why I generally... So the thing that I do when I'm playing DOS games is make sure that my mic has like a directional mode. So when it's facing this way, it's not supposed to pick up as much from behind it. And I found that if I do that and I hold it a little bit further towards me when I'm playing DOS games, then I can put the keyboard further up in it. But yeah, sitting on cardboard doesn't work so well, it turns out. Make sure I have the Switch and Joy-Con controllers ready. I mean, I'm like looking at the Switch in order to do this, right? But I've got the Joy-Con controllers here. 1, 2, buckle my shoe. First, let's insert the console itself. Not gonna do that. Attach the Joy-Con. Yeah. Left Joy-Con is the one with the minus button. Slide it all the way inside. It goes in first. Yep. Right. Up to the block. Okay. The Toycon motorbike is ready. Oh, god damn it. Jose! Welcome, welcome. Let's see how it goes. Alright. Busted. But, oh god. Ah! Get past you. There we go. Oh boy. Oh god. Okay, we're good. We're good. Alrighty. Alright. And do a wheelie. Whee! Okay. I'm in the lead, I'm gonna win, I'm gonna play some motorbiking. I'm in the lead, I'm gonna win, I'm gonna... Oh dear. Ah! Excite Bike for Switch. Yeah, we all know Excite Bike is one of my favorite games. It's actually one of the first games I streamed. If you go back to the Christopher Schmidt channel, there's actually a live stream of mine playing Excite Bike for about 45 minutes without saying a goddamn word because not a single person watched me. And I thought that that was going to be awesome. The game sound is totally fucked, Chris GC8. It's been fucked all night. Racing, 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 racing. You can't catch me. Okay, so that's the brake. Look out, I'm honking my horn. Yeah, so Maze Rose, basically what happens is when I mute the sound in the control panel briefly and then unmute it, it works briefly, but exactly how briefly is variable. Sometimes it's for like 10 seconds, sometimes it's for like 30. Yeah, so there it goes. So that's what's going on there. Yeah, so we will play a little bit with making a track a little bit after this. We're just gonna run through this first set of 3 tracks, and then we'll go out and do a little bit more. I think in order to build the to set up the track, there's actually a little mini Joy-Con bike that you make. You don't have to, but we're going to anyway. I don't know, what time is it? It's 11:03? Yeah, we'll make that. It only took us about 2 hours, a little bit less than 2 hours to put this together, so that's pretty cool. And yeah, that. It's interesting, so if I look down, I can actually look at my speedometer. So yeah, I'm only going 63 miles per hour, or kilometers per hour. I don't know what. Unless I hit a turbo, at which point I go up to. So yeah, it's a slow bike. I expect that so these are the beginner tracks. I expect that there are like, more tracks that are maybe faster. Yeah, so that was the beginner, and then there are other things as well, but there's also a speed option. So laps. We'll go ahead and try 600cc. Yeah, I think if you type !Discord, I think there should be a Discord link. We'll try the 600cc race. Yeah, so this is definitely, you can see it's like double the speed. So this 600cc, just like in Mario Kart, the lower CC levels are pretty slow. The higher ones are a lot faster. So this tilting actually works too. So you can actually do either. If you look at the camera in the top left, you can see that if I don't turn the handlebars and I just tilt left and right, that also works. And I play the music from Jaws, the original movie, not while I'm not at the moment. And just like Mario Kart, there's also the aspect of, like, if you start your, you hit the gas at just the right time, you get a boost at the start. Oh no! Oh no! Don't fall off. Okay, we're good. Woo! All on my own, baby. Yes! Alright. 2 races down, 1 to go. I don't think anybody here saw Solo. I have one friend who saw it who really liked it. That's the only information I have at this point. Like, Jose's opinion is that we should have other people than the, like, 7 we already know in some of these movies. But I expect he'll still go see Solo anyway. Well, go see. It's the wrong word. Oh no! Oh no! Oh no! Okay. I can catch up. Come on, baby. Come on, Bessie, give. The baby's gotta live. Come on, come on, come on, come on, come on. Oh! Oh, that's right. Matus said he was very much not interested in seeing. I remember that. Okay. We'll go ahead and close that out. Alright, so, we're gonna close this. Nope, that was not what I meant. Those. Alright. Now let's go back to... Here at this point. Alright, let's make a mini bike. There are 2 steps to complete. Piece D. Alright, D, where are you? Ugh. D. Oi! No such thing as too much makeup. I need to at least learn how to figure out, like, put on foundation and concealer so I can get rid of these silly dark circles under my eyes. Alright. What else? Even with makeup tutorials, it's hard. Imagine how hard it would have been to learn how to do makeup before there were YouTube tutorials for everything under the sun. I will say that one of the things that I've noticed is that a lot of makeup for guys focuses on a very drag look. There's probably ways to get around there. I mean, there's everything, again, everything under the sun is on YouTube. I'm sure that there are exceptions, but in general, I've found that a lot of guy makeup tends to have a very like extreme drag or glam look, and I'm like, not the look I want to go for. I just want to not have giant bags under my eyes all the time, which I do. Okay. I have folded this. Alright, L. Oh, you're inside my... Come here. So I think just concealer has the problem, like, most of the times I've seen it, like, I don't know. Okay. Done. The mini bike is ready. Alright. Now we're gonna make a thing of, Jose said he wanted to make a course that looks like his face. No, it doesn't move. What happens is that I can drive it. My biggest problem is actually that I actually have a really hard time, I have a really hard time getting the appropriate amount of sleep. I can sleep 6.5 hours a night. That's it. I can't figure out how to sleep any more than that. Okay, hold on. How do I make you stop? Down? Create course. Press a button to start the course. Okay. So hose face looks like this. Got a cutout that's kind of for his glasses. Cut it again. Beard. Come in and look like this. That does not look like Jose's face at all. When I look at the mini map, it looks like I don't know. Looks like something. Ah. This is actually like and go here. Cut this around. Here. Down. Not making Jose's face anymore. In a track. Oh god! Oh, that didn't work. I ran into my other track. Come back here, around. Ground level. Up. Down. Alright. There we go. Problem is that, like, in order to make the, like, this thing seems to have a rightward bent to it. Try and put this in. Okay, so I guess I didn't actually need to make the mini bike in order to drive it around, but it is kind of cool that you can just, like, be like, oh yeah, look, I can just, you know, have this little thing that's pretty cute, and I can make a course with it. But the controls, while they've worked fine for making a course, for driving on it seem like they're pretty broken. So, I don't know. Okay. Now, I got this back in business. Now, can we make a loop? I think the answer is no. We can go up a very tall hill, but that's it. And then we run into the ceiling. Alright, so this should be an interesting one to ride around. You got a giant hill in the middle, and a loop back around underneath it. So we should get a lot of speed coming down that hill. Well, I also think that it depends on the look you're going for. The other thing is that, like, you know, part of the reason why I'm interested in makeup at the moment is that without makeup, I feel like the look that I've been going with on... Oh, no. Try that, and then go up, 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 down, 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 round. But yeah, so for me, I'm not looking for a very male, like a masculine look for my makeup regimen. It's that I want to get rid of a lot of the, like, you know, the look on my face that is very masculine for my effectively cosplay that I've been doing as you know, Princess Sifu. So it depends. Always depends on what you're looking for. Curve that in here. All right. Want to push a button. I come through here. Go up the giant hill. Down the giant hill. Curve around. Definitely cooler to make a track this way than the old Excite Bike way. Of course, it helps that at least in this game, there's a good chance you'll be able to save your course and not have to rebuild it every time that you want to race on it, which is, of course, the Excite Bike way. Excite Bike had course building but no saving, and so every time you wanted to play a course, you'd have to rebuild it from scratch, which is not exactly entertaining. Alright, cool. So I made a course. Save course. Alright, so let's go ahead over here. Turn that up. Let's try this. Alright, so 600cc on my own course. Here we go. Going around the curve, bouncing off somebody else so I don't fall off the edge. 140 kilometers there as I boost past that guy. 110 coming into the turn. And made it. I make that a race, but oh, you'd have to create 3. Okay. Alright, so that was a pretty simple one. Go ahead and create now. Jack is a baby, but he's got powers now. Got like the ability to disappear and teleport and change into different things. Seems like an utter terror to have as a parent. Go ahead and make a long course here. Go back over my previous hill. Up about half of my track now. Come on back down. Oh! What? Alright. Well, I don't know exactly what I got stuck on there, but didn't go exactly as I planned. Go ahead and go down. Alright. Ah! Ah! Alright. Oops. Smashed into sign. Problem solved. Oh, I wanted to bank these turns a little bit more. Alright. Oh god. Alright, one more course. So what should we do for this last one? Okay, we gotta get some more booze in me here. Oh, bad pour. Any opinions on what I should do for my last course? You got all kinds here, Andres. Andre, right? I assume that I would not pronounce the S. No, it's okay. I mean, yo puedo hablar un poquito de español. Necesito, you know, conocer más como say, you know, Andre. It's not that hard, but my wife just bought that on iTunes, so I guess I have a copy of it now. I have not seen it. Alright. Now I've got a 3-course race going on here. The CPG Grand Prix. We're gonna race against 10 people. And we're gonna just start it off. Let's go. Ah! I mean the boost around that corner. Alright. Yes! One done! Next. 10 megabits per second should be enough for anybody. I don't know why you need more than that. Now, last night I was trying to download a bunch of movies because I thought I was going to be getting on a plane to LA today. And it was a reminder of how much having, like, you know, internet that is not fast sucks. Like, trying to download, like, I mean, I was trying to download, like 5 movies, and I wanted to download some YouTube videos, and I wanted to download some like Deep Space Nine to watch, and everything else like that. But it's just like, oh my god, like, this could be so much faster than it is. I was curious whether if I went on the other lane of the track, it would call me off the track, and it seems like the answer. Interesting to note. Can't just, like, track hop like you can sometimes in Mario Kart. Fuck you, buddy! Ah, I come in fucking last. Oh no! Off the track again! Oh! Come back here, bikes. I'm gonna win on my own track. I've been flummoxed. Ruined by my curviness. God damn it. Was this easier? Yeah, this was definitely way easier to build than the piano. Way less time consuming too. Alright, now I'm gonna pass all of you. Oh, you fucker! Fuck you, Blue. I'm out of here. Bring it on. I'll take you on. Headstrong and take you on. This is not where you belong. Aha! New record. Oh, my total time did not put me in first, though. Alright, well, it is a new record. I have not seen anything about the new Thundercats. I have not watched it and have no opinions on it. Okay, so let me see. I got a couple of the things that are not used here. I don't know what they are. Interesting. Why do I have extra pieces? See if we can find something else that we get to make in the motorcycle set. People don't like the art style. Okay. Try and bring this music back a little bit. Oh, what's the stadium play look like? Oh, interesting. Okay, so we can come back and do that maybe. You want the old Thundercats to be back? I mean, those of us who are old are probably not the target audience for the modern Thundercats, right? Why is there like a gun? The IR scanner. I don't know what I'd do with it. I'll build it anyway, though. Alright, IR scanner. Let's go. H. Yeah, so, I mean, I kind of heard that, like, there was a Thundercats before. It was pretty, like, quietly received. No one really cared. But now that, like, Thundercats that was in more of the original style, and now that there is this other Thundercats is in a different style, everyone's like, oh, you ruined Thundercats. It's like, fuck, like, you want the old Thundercats, maybe you should watch the old Thundercats we put out for you, you dingleberries. But, you know, that's the internet for you. Okay, box, go away. Don't You and then punch out, punch out, punch out. Anyway, so I will probably be around on Monday. There's a good chance that I will stream. I thank you all for hanging out with me as we built the motorcycle Toycon tonight. I continue to think the Labo is well worth the price. I think it is an enjoyable tool, and they have put a lot of thought into making it interesting both as a builder project and as a game to play with. I am happy that I bought it, and I think it is a pretty cool thing. I remain impressed by the technical competence that has to go into making something like this. It is just like an impressive engineering feat as someone who finds a lot to respect in engineering feats. And they continue to have made really cool things. So good on them, and good on them for making Labo and for it being as cool as it is. And everyone who complains about it can fuck right off. Nah, Brad, I'll just roll off to bed. Mrs. CPG sick means that, you know, failing a little bit early is good. But we'll figure out what this, maybe we'll figure out what this, IR scanner is before I do that. I definitely feel like, I mean, I definitely did not feel like old school 80s cartoons had decent stories at all. I feel like that's a very rose-colored glasses look to the situation. I'm gonna finish this first. I'm not done quite yet, but yeah, we won't. I won't spend another 45 minutes playing a round of Wario's Woods. We'll finish this up. We'll do a little bit of chat at the end, and then do I want to figure out what the IR scanner is for. I want it to send me into the play mode so I can figure out where the hell it's used. Okay. I mean, Pinky and the... It's not like these things, like, have... I don't know. I feel like if you look at, like, Danny Phantom or other things like that, like, those things have a lot of story. Or Avatar. Like, Avatar The Last Airbender is like, a modern cartoon. And I feel like Avatar The Last Airbender had an extremely complex story that is 100% capable for adults. I think that if you look at a lot of like anime and other shit like that out there, like I'm not a big fan of the style, but there's a lot to a lot of those like shows. Um, so I think that there is a lot out there in a lot of cartoons. Like it doesn't necessarily mean that all the ones on Cartoon Network are going to be that, but I don't know. What about Rick and Morty? What about modern? I mean, South Park is terrible. Never that example, but like I don't feel like there's some like golden age of cartoons that we have left and never returned to. Not Avatar the Blue People movie. Avatar the Last Airbender, the anime series. Okay. So what, you want this in here? Okay. IR scanner is ready. What are we gonna do with it? I want to know. Sure. I mean, I don't know what the distinction you're making is. Anime style is the style. Like, that's what anime is, no? Used. How does... Something isn't working here, and I don't know. This is the stadium mode. Seems clear that it's a balloon fight, right? Like you got to try and maximize your number of balloons. But for playing, it sent me into this with the IR scanner, which I don't. Oh, okay. Hold on. Hold down R to scan a. Okay. So like I put my hand here, and then I make a course. There you go. Now, if I save this, then I can like you'll see my hand as the course now. Maybe. Yeah, there you go. Okay. That's a pretty cool thing. So I think it's a camera. So when I don't know if you were here for the piano stuff, Mark, but the piano uses the same sensor to look at things like if you look in the top left camera, it looks at things like this, and it produced like a grayscale like IR thing that looked like a picture of this. And so when I just stuck any object in the top of the piano, it would scan the waveform and it would use the IR scanner. So okay, so that is what the IR scanner is. So I can probably like hold down R here, hold down R. Oh, that's the wrong. So yeah. So I don't think it's a depth sensor. I think it's a camera, although it does clearly have some sensing of depth there. Scan my face. I look like the devil. I also have like a giant thing poking out of my eye. Oh right, because it's an IR scanner, so anything that's reflective is probably gonna get like screwed up. So if I take my glasses off, yeah, now I don't get the giant thing from my R or from my eye. There you go. I do have cats, but they're not around at the moment. Yeah, so to scan my camera gets weird because everything's reflective on it. I could scan the Stream Deck. Anyway, so yeah, this all comes back down to like they have clearly done a lot with this to use all of the features of the Wii, right? So you've got this, which is the IR sensor. You've got the gyros. You've got buttons, which are in this case triggered by like the components of this. Like this triggers one button, which is probably like this top button here. This is triggering on the bottom here is triggering another button, which is probably this bottom button here, just from those slight movements. You've got rotation sensor because it's a it's got a gyroscope in it. You've got all of these different things, which are just like really well done and well considered components of it. With the way the piano works, for those of you who weren't here last time, is basically it uses the IR sensor, and then there are reflective stickers on each of the keys. So as you tap a key, it becomes visible. They use the IR sensor on these to kind of like determine. A lot of these aren't working as well anymore, but like as you rotate this knob, it like scans the little ticks you're passing through. Yeah, no, I love that you can see the IR light in the camera view, because you know I can't see this. If I hold this up to my like here, this just looks black, like I can't see anything, but the camera can see the IR. And they've clearly designed this to be good. like just in all kinds of ways. And so one thing that I learned since last time is that this card is actually used in the piano to make beats. So this is a four track like rhythm kit, which is pretty cool as well. And so the 4-track rhythm kit, you basically like there's like hi-hats and snares and whatever and bass drum, and you punch these all out and then you fill them in to be like, okay, on the 1 2, you know, it's an 8-beat measure, and like what do you want your drum pattern to look like. So like that's like that piano is like a full, like has a bunch of features that you would find in an actual synth. And I also, like, since last time I actually looked in Labo, and so there's like a couple of different things that people have done. Like IGN had the Game of Thrones composer record the Game of Thrones theme on the Labo. So if we yeah, so he'd never seen this before, and he just sat down and started playing with it. So first, we'll actually go back.
Then he stuck a bit of melody on it.
So you got multiple tracks, right? So he's recorded his bass line.
And finally, some drums, where things got really sexy.
I don't think this drum actually sounds better. It's nice to have a demo of the drums, but I don't actually think it was a win.
If you like that, you can see him on the Game of Thrones concert live tour. Just go to...
And then the other thing was, there was another, see if I can find it real quick. There was another track that I linked, that was another Labo composer thing. That's me. I think it's this one. So this is a guy who does a lot of music production stuff in general.
I am back, and today.
And so he put together a track using, like he actually, oh, one of the things is, right, like, so you can also cut your own custom waveforms out of paper. So this was the thing that I hadn't realized, that these cards, which I'll flip back to the camera for a second. So these cards, you can put them in, and if they looks like this, then it's going to be drums. But if it looks like this, then it's a triangle waveform, and if it looks like anything else, it's random. And so he actually, when doing this,
custom waveforms. This one that I made here is just a really basic square wave, but you can also go ahead
and so he
make
mixed
something
in
completely crazy,
like a crazy waveform, and then he mixed like all of these different tracks together using these things. So this is like a triangle wave. Or square wave, rather.
That sounds pretty good. Let's go ahead and record it.
But also his drum beat was where he started.
Start making some music. So I think I'm going to start off with some drums. Let's go ahead and make a pattern.
So you can see here him putting in those little dots to put his drum pattern in.
That sounds pretty good. So now I'm going to go ahead and start recording the instruments. So first off, I think I'm going to start off with a piano sound that's already loaded in. I might go ahead and change some of the parameters. I might change the envelope a little bit. Maybe put the volume down just a little bit as well. And that should do. So now we should be good to go ahead and start recording some chords.
So this is the thing that I can't do because I don't make music very well. Yeah, so I would say that, like, for me, this project is probably too much for most 6-year-olds. I think the 8 is like a better
I might use this little
thing.
square wave that I made. That sounds pretty
I
good.
love
Let's go ahead and record
like the
it.
difference between like a normal like piano like note and the square wave. It just makes such a huge difference, and it's so cool that you can just pop this in and like this is fucking like this is a synthesizer. Now,
Next
granted,
time I'm gonna go put
it's a
some
$200
synthesizer chords. I'm just gonna use
Switch.
the saw
I
wave
understand
for this
that
one.
with a bunch of
So let's go
electronics
ahead
in these
and
controllers,
plug it in.
but
Now I might make
it's a
the envelope
$200
little bit bigger, so
synthesizer
I'll
that you make out of
stop.
cardboard. Like, yeah. So this is
Sounds
the
alright.
triangle
Let's put on
wave,
a little
I
bit of
think. Or maybe this is the weird one he cut out.
That sounds pretty good.
No,
Let's
this is
go
the
ahead and
triangle
record it.
You can see because that one's actually made out of cardboard. And then this one is the
Crazy
one that's made
waveform
out of
that I
crazy
cut out.
waveform. So that like is the thing he made out.
Sounds pretty good. So I think
But yeah, so this is someone who knows how to do music, obviously. But he was able to just sit down and like in, you know, an hour of bash playing around with this, produce this awesome sounding track using like cardboard. So yeah, but I just wanted to like call out like it's not just the cardboard, right? The reality here is that what Nintendo has done is taken and put a ton of awesome different sensors that they can use for all kinds of different things into a single piece of hardware. And that's why you've got, you know, each of these controllers has a different set of components to it. It's designed such that you can do different things with it. It's got buttons, it's got whatever else like that. But this is the only place that like using the IR sensor in this many different ways is like super inventive and something that I mean realistically I don't think like Nintendo has been doing things with IR sensors for a while now. The Wii U obviously used them. Nintendo went further with the you know motion controls for Skyward Sword and the like the Wiimote Plus or whatever they were called for the Wii. And yeah, maybe the Wii U was a little bit of a step backwards. The gamepad didn't really work out as you might have wanted it to, but it's really impressive. It's just really impressive that they've done this. And I'm super pleased with the Labo as a demonstration of what you can do with the technology. So yeah, and I think another thing which I didn't actually demo here, and I can, is that the oh, I'm off. Oh, whatever. Is that a thing about this which I have not really dug into is that beyond even just like, so you've got the studio and the circuit and there's all of these things, right? But beyond that, there's actually like a whole aspect of discovering how this works. And so like each of these things actually has an understanding of like how like has a component here that describes how they work. And so if we go into like making stadiums, it's gonna be like, you know, what is this? It's the scanner. Have I made mine? Yes, I have made mine. Okay, cool. Then we can get straight to the point. I can create my own stadiums. First, select create stadium, and so this gives you the technical aspect, like the straightforward, like how do you do it in the game, and scan something, anything, and you can see that like it changes, you know, the shape. The ground goes up in the shape of a hand, and you can ride around the stadiums you create. Yes. So it scans that's how the game is programmed. Isn't programming neat? I wouldn't recommend, see, it says right here, wouldn't recommend scanning your cat. How about a banana? Let's try a banana. And then beyond that, there's also the whoa or whoa. I haven't seen anything yet. Yeah, see, look, he scanned his face just like I scanned my face. Oh. I did try it. There is, but I don't want to play that right now. I'm not going to do that. And then the other thing is that the garage, which I have not, again, I'll admit that I have not played sufficiently with, and unfortunately I can't demo it for you very easily, but this Toycon garage actually allows you to basically use block mode of programming to cause things to happen. So you touch the screen, and when you touch the screen, it makes a sound from the piano or does all these other things. So it's actually got this like targeted programming interface that you can also look at. And so like if you look at the I don't know, let's see if anyone's done anything with Toycon Garage demo YouTube.
Dream up new ways to play using Toycon Garage. In part 1 of this video series, we'll cover the basics. Input and output. Connect 2 boxes and discover the results.
Yeah, so it's basically like a full...
By combining these with your original designs, you can create your very own Toycon projects. Cool. You can also use Toycon Ride, or use the Toycon motorbike as an instrument. You won't believe the stuff you can do. Flex your creativity and you may blow some minds while you're at it.
Like, there's a million different things they just demoed there in like 2 seconds, and it's not even something I knew about. Like, that is not even yeah, so it's not even the case that like there's all these different components to this, and when I bought the Labo kit, I didn't even know that shit existed, and I haven't even had a chance to play with it yet. Because I've just been like, I built a motorbike and I built a piano and I built all this other stuff, and I'm just like, there's so much here. And so for anyone who complain like, oh, you're paying $70 for cardboard, like, it's they're wrong. Like, 2, like, even if it is like, this cardboard build is solid. Like, it is just as solid, in fact more solid than a lot of the like, you know, laser cut wood shit that I have built. Nintendo did a good fucking job with the build, and these are like important things. So did not scan my cat's butt. So yeah, so allowing people to build their own things, allowing people to see all this stuff, like, this is a cool project. I do think that there's more, and I haven't gone through all the lessons yet, but like talking about IR lights and how they work, and like, so I'm confused, Mark. Like, I wonder, oh, is this not lighting up? Oh, right, because I'm not in that mode at the moment. Okay, so yeah, so maybe in the like IR scanner mode, I don't know why I only saw one light if there's 4 LEDs in there, but whatever. Yeah, well, so the thing that I have, I think I have one of them in here. One second. Okay, so this is the make your own drift motorcycle, which has instructions that look like this, and these pieces are all like plastic and laser cut wood and other things like that. And this is about like $20 a month, I think. But it's $20 a month for like each of these projects, right? And so like some of them are good, some of them are bad. One month it was just slime, and like, if I could never make any more slime again, I probably would, you know, that would be fine. Julie actually put together one of them just recently for me. Also, I didn't... I was supposed to. Yeah, so this is a... I've misplaced the ball, but it's a ballista. So you pull it back, and it's a ballista that laser cut wood ballista. And anyway, yeah, that actually did the other one. There we go. Yeah, so like, this is a cool project, but again, this is like $20-25 on its own, and it comes as a kit that, you know, you get one of these every month, and some of them are good and some of them are bad. Like, these are equally cool projects. It's an appropriate like price for some of these. Yeah, exactly, Mathos. That was my feeling on it. So like, it did have it was like slime and silly putty and like other things, and it was nice because it included all of the bits you need. You had like the borax and the cornstarch and the soap and everything else like that. All you needed was water. But like things like this, definitely more what I was expecting. They had like a catapult as a demo, and I was like, I want that. And then the first month was slime, and I was like, oh. But of course, Julie actually liked that, so she did it, and was excited about it. But yeah, so this is a cool build. Like this is laser cut wood, but the reality is that the quality of like the build quality of the cardboard is not actually significantly different from this. Like I realize it's cardboard, and if you have cats, I also do understand the ways in which cardboard is a problem. But it really works. It works. Yeah. So 3D printing a gun isn't a big deal. The reality is that 3D printing, when people say 3D printing a gun, just to be clear, what they mean is not 3D printing a gun. What they mean is 3D printing the small part of a weapon which has been legally declared to be the only part that you have to register to sell in these kind of Armalite, the AR-15 whatever models, which is the lower receiver. The reality is also that unless you have, you are much, much, much more likely to, the thing you can do is that you can sell a lower receiver, which is a chunk of, material, but where the metal parts are the parts you want to keep and the plastic parts are the parts you want to get rid of. And then you just take a CNC mill and you mill out all the plastic, and now you have a lower receiver. It's called like an 80% lower or something like that. Like that whole scene is stupid. It is stupid that our law has created this small object, which is like not much bigger than this, and made out of metal that you use, and that's the only regulated part of a gun. Like you can buy barrels and stocks and everything else like that. But it also speaks to a little bit that guns are not a super complex thing, and is why we should be looking at guns that are a better using our technology to, make guns less likely to kill people. The smart gun idea of, having, if you want to shoot at a range or shoot when hunting or whatever else like that, requiring a fingerprint, requiring access, requiring a physical token to unlock it is a good idea. So I mean the whole lower receiver thing, it's like 3D print a gun. You're not 3D printing a gun. And the reality is that also 3D printing is a terrible way to make those. Like buy an 80% lower and get yourself like a Dremel, and you're going to be better off than you are with a 3D printer. Like trying to print one of those in plastic is not going to be good for you. You're going to have something blow up in your face. It's not a good idea. And doing anything that is not and 3D printing in metal is junky at the moment. So or really not junky, is very expensive. So to 3D print in metal is a very, very different situation. The reality though is, like, one, yes, we should get rid of all guns, not just military guns. I think we should get rid of almost all guns. I'm okay with anything that's not semi-automatic. But certainly we should get rid of all centerfire guns, centerfire weapons, centerfire semi-automatic weapons with a magazine size of 6 or more should be illegal for civilians to own. And we should disarm, and beyond that, I have strong opinions that we should disarm effectively everybody. I don't think we should have handguns. I don't think we should have a lot of things. I think the semi-automatic weapons should essentially be a very limited thing. And people sometimes are like, well, what about the cops? I'm like, them too. Take away their guns. Like a third of the homicides in this country are cops. Like we need to get rid of guns from a lot of people. So yeah. And Mathros, I fully acknowledge that I don't have all of the answers. Hogs have been brought up to me several times now. I don't know much about rimfire weapons, torch red, so I'm not going to sit here and pretend that I have all the answers. Am I okay with anything that's not semi-auto? I'm not sure if I'm okay with anything that's not semi-auto, because there's a lot of things that aren't. In general, I have almost no problem with the idea. Like, a shotgun is a thing that I don't think can be used in a concealed way. And I think for a lot of people who are concerned about like home invasion and other things like that, like racking a shotgun will scare away a burglar much better than shooting him, frankly. So but yeah, I take the a 5-round revolver. Yeah, my personal opinion on people owning 5-round revolvers is go for it. I don't. It's not like, let's just be clear. My personal opinion is get rid of all guns. But I'm gonna draw, like, there's a variety of lines that I'll draw. I'll also say that the reality is that nothing that I want is going to happen. So it's not really relevant what I think or what I want, because 1, I don't write regulation, and 2, the regulations that I want are never ever going to be a thing. But if you're going to ask me my opinion, like, then I would start by getting rid of all, basically semi-automatic weapons, handguns, rifles, other things like that. And it's different, and it's a different situation to talk about like personal civilian use, and to talk about in like, I'm not saying getting rid of them from the military. I'm not saying get rid of them necessarily from people who work security, whether you're at a bank or anywhere else like that. That's a different situation. It's okay, AWOL. But I also think that you should have, so Massachusetts does mandatory licensing, so you have to have passed a firearms course, and you have to get the permission of your local police department, which usually happens after an interview with the like a police officer and other things like that. That system is odd, but we have one of the lowest, firearms homicide rates in the country, so at least it's doing something right, and that's despite the fact that we have New Hampshire right across the border, from which most guns which are used to kill people are actually coming from. I think that the idea that any particular regulation is in place is not generally true nationwide. Some of them are, some of them aren't. So, is it difficult to take things away? Yes. Do I think it's impossible? No. And the other thing that I will say is that even beyond all these things, to go further up the chain and say, like, okay, fine, you don't want to get rid of semi-automatic weapons, you think everyone deserves to have their guns, fine, you have to insure them. You have to insure them from, someplace that, and you have liability. So 1, registration should be mandatory. Every gun out there that is used, like ballistics, whatever it needs to do, no one should ever be in a place where a legally bought and owned gun does not have the ability to track it back to its owner, and whoever the owner is has the responsibility if someone dies using that gun. And that should be covered by liability insurance that you have to own. This is essentially a tax on, and that liability insurance should be, similar to life insurance for whatever. Like, it should have a $1 million payout for people who die. And let the insurance companies, let the free market figure out how much it should cost you to own a gun because of how much people die. Like, that's like, go for that. If your gun is stolen, then you have to report it missing. And yes, there will still be illegal guns. There will still be things that happen. I'm not claiming anything otherwise, but it is absolutely a thing that we should have. Owning a gun should not be significantly different from driving a car. You should have to have licensing. You should have to have a test. You should have to have liability insurance. You should have to have, seat belts and other things like that make it safer. That comes down to gun lockers and trigger locks and other things like that. No, ammo is. I actually think that limiting sale of ammunition is actually very effective, because it's not about banning it. What it is about, or rather, tracking sale. There's no reason that buying ammo should require less ID than buying Sudafed. if you make buying ammo like buying Sudafed, such that you have to show your license and it goes into a federally tracked database and everything else like that, when you get assholes who go out there and buy a bunch more ammo, like, it's going to cause, you know, in the same way that buying a bunch of Sudafed would, people to look at that and understand more about it. And maybe that on its own doesn't solve anything, but again, a huge part of the gun violence problem in this country is, and I'm not talking about school shootings, I'm not talking about mass shootings, which I know are high profile, but are a tiny portion of the overall deaths in this country, is that you're looking at something where we have a drastic lack of understanding of the problem. I have no answer to that, AWOL. So yes, when I mention banning assault rifles, what I would like to ban is all centerfire rifles with a round size of 6 or more, and the semi-automatic centerfire rifles with a round size of 6 or more. Like, it's a very easy, you know, thing that you can look at, and is it going to cover everything? No, we can argue about that all day, but that's the thing that I'm going to stick to, and not have the stupid assault rifle terminology documentation. So I don't fully understand, I don't fully understand the debate there, or the question, AWOL, I think, is the how do we repel the inevitable Big Brother industrialized military complex? Like, how do we get these things passing? I mean, that's, I honestly, like, the will of the people is the answer there. Something like 87% of people are in favor of more aggressive background, or, you know, of universal background checks. Something like 85% of people are in favor of repealing or prohibiting the sale of assault rifles. And I'm not going to say the assault rifle ban that we have is the sensible one that solves all the problems. But, you know, yeah, Mathras, Australia is a place that had widespread handgun ownership, and they did a massive buyback, and they brought back all the guns, and now, you know, handgun ownership is almost non-existent. No, I think AR stands for Armalite. The AR in Armalite. But, like, the assault rifle debate is the stupidest. Like, if you're saying, like, it's not even an assault rifle, you're missing the point. Like, it's a stupid talking point that is brought up repeatedly and distracts from the actual question. Like we both know, or we all know, that we're talking about a class of weapons which has many similar characteristics, and which smart people could create legislation to moderate. It's you know, it's dumb. It's dumb. Like, no one, like, and you can argue it's just about a look of a weapon, and yes, to a large extent, it is about a look of a weapon, because assault rifle has been used to mean scary gun by a lot of people for a long time. But yes, Australia had extremely widespread handgun ownership, and it's not, I mean, it's not as much as America. America is a unique, broken, like, situation where we fetishize guns for a large chunk of people. So the reality is that the whole, like, so one, no, our country does not only exist because we shot the fuck out of a government that we didn't agree with. Our government exists because we decided to say no to a government we didn't agree with. And once you decide to say no to a government you don't agree with, you can do something about that. The reality is that, like, there is no way in which you can use firearms to overtake the government in a meaningful way, a first world government in a meaningful way, because they've got bigger guns than you in a lot of ways. Now, that does not mean that you can't engage in guerrilla warfare, that you can't do other things like that. If you look at, you know, any of the countries in the Middle East in which we are fighting routinely, you can see the effectiveness of non-gun approaches to the way that you fight back against an oppressive government invader, or that, if you look at overthrows and coups in a lot of other places, that these things can't happen. But you don't need a military, like a fucking boatload of guns behind you to do that. You need one person to shoot a leadership and dictator. And so while harsh words do not make this country, I don't think that the modern world is the same. Yeah, I think Mark is agreeing with my point. So, just to be clear, no one has as many guns as the United States. In addition, the United States has many other flaws that make it, problematic. No one has, the same white supremacist, support at the moment. If you look at the domestic terrorists who have committed mass shootings recently, that's a major thing. No one has the same, like, highly racialized, racial tension across the country as you look at interactions between the police and non-police. If you look at the non-suicide, like if you look at the homicides in this country, a third of them are from police or something along those. So, like, the U.S. is special in a lot of ways, and our obsession with guns is among it. But yeah, I built a motorcycle, and we drove it, and I built an IR scanner, and we scanned my face with it, and I built a mini motorbike, and we made courses with it. There's a lot of things there, but yeah, it shouldn't be legal to buy guns. It shouldn't be legal to own guns. It should be, at least, a lot of types of guns should go away. It should not be a thing. And yeah, so we got here because we were talking about 3D printed guns and the whole lower receiver and everything else like that. My daughter actually built the ballista. The cats are off sleeping somewhere, I don't know where. But yes, my daughter built the ballista. Someone made a joke about guns, and here we are. So, that one is thankfully that one's laser printed wood, so I'm good. I don't have to worry about this being banned. Laser printed wood and string. All right. Cardboard fireplace. Seems like that should work out well. All right, so I've ended the stream with 30 minutes of chatting about guns. No one's mind was changed. No one's mind will be changed. We all have our own opinions, but mine are right and yours are wrong, even if you agree with me. So, you've always got that going for you. I will be back on Monday, probably playing something, I don't know what, and then I will be in LA for a while, but probably back even the following Friday, so I may actually not miss a stream. So you can thank Mrs. CPG for being sick, for me being around. I'll be around on Monday, and I will, yeah, it's a holiday, but that doesn't impact my streaming. But yeah, I'm in LA Tuesday through Thursday, and I will catch all of you. But yeah, Monday stream, retro, be back for that. Other than that, have a great night. I hope you enjoyed the Labo build. Sorry for the sound being screwed up, but we did get this built. So I appreciate you hanging out with me. Oh yeah, I was talking a little bit before about the piles of little cardboard. Like, this is, ignoring this, which is part of the IR scanner. Like, this is all the little cardboard bits that you punch out that are just like leftovers. So you can see that you get a lot of them at the end. Take care, AWOL. Have a good one. I mean, cardboard isn't that bad, right? It biodegrades pretty easily. You can toss it in the recycling. It just goes to China and they reuse it. So I will see you all on Monday.